Gaming is a type of entertainment, a source, a hobby that allows thousands of people with all ages spend their time for something they enjoy. Nevertheless, the idea of gaming mostly taken as something negative for us, our children, closer ones or beloved ones. But what future of person do you imagine if he says that he loves to playing games? Most of us will think of this and this or even this. But how many of you will think of benefits, psychological happens, hobby or even a job? Personally, I love gaming. I love spend my time on learning, feeling, watching different stories from different universes. That shows me that there's no limits in our imagination. I played a lot of games. In my childhood, I played Counter-Strike 1.6, Minecraft, Warcraft 3, Skyrim, and it's only few of them that's very rich with their stories and fantastic universes. And as many as you, I heard a lot about side effects of games from our parents and so on. Yes, I know about addiction, negative impacts of health and so on. Let's not forget that these impacts can appear only when person forgets about his duties and directs all his focus on only gaming hobby. There are many significant research that reveal that gaming is mostly give us negatively impacts. Luckily for gamers, that the results have been diverse. So how does gaming benefit us? First of all, when you think about benefits from gaming, of course you think about improving your coordination and multitasking skills. When you engage in a game, a player needs to coordinate the visual, audio, and some physical movement, all at the same time. For instance, just imagine some kind of action game, Counter-Strike, Doom, Minecraft, where you must fastly react, counterattack, all at once. You have to look at your health bar, you have to look at the skill bar, and you have to press all your abilities all at the same time. You must look at your joysticks, you must press that keys to fastly react. And in reality, there might be some situations. For example, maybe a murderer, a killer, approaching you with a knife. What you will do? I don't think mostly gamers can react for that, but in some case, when you improve your coordination, you can fastly react, counterattack, or even run away from that murderer. That might be very helpful in your real life. Next is improving your concentration and problem-solving skills. Very good video games, some AAA games, they can retain the player's attention for a long time, harnessing the full concentration on achieving some kind of certain objectives, set it on whole the story of that game. Players' creative cognitive abilities are tested as they try to figure out different ways to solve the problems set out on different levels in a different order. Player must choose to obtain some kind of results at the end. All his decisions have different impacts on the game, on the results. Of course, that depends on is it linear story or not. But mostly some kind of games, for example, Witcher 3, or maybe Skyrim, there you may see some different stories. So in reality, the problem-solving skills might be very important, vital at your job. For example, when you must choose or even at your education. For example, you are sitting on exam and you must choose some kind of you must solve some kind of problem. Some students may have some courses connected with some logical thinking and so on. This is a place where your problem solving skills might be very useful. Next is enhancing brain speed and memory. Playing video games help enhance visual and audio memory. The player required to read, listen, some kind of instruction, and all this provided to a player at the beginning of the game. Thus, you must remember, you need to then remind it during passing this game story. You will have some revisions for that. So while you're pressing that kind of keyboards, keys or joysticks, you train your motion memory and your memory itself. You will, at some case you may forgot about that, but you will develop, improve it, and for example, in comparison with simple people who just working all days, you will have some you may stimulate faster than that kind of people. This frequency of repeating some kind of actions, of doing some kind of actions, this is good for stimulating your brain and your motion memory. Of course, at some case chess or other games may have that kind of impacts too, but mostly people prefer something they enjoy to do, or don't like things where they don't enjoy, or something like that. Gaming is a great source of learning. In recent years, many modern education institutions incorporate video games as a part of their teaching methodology. Most of these games enhance cognitive and creative skills, as well as learning through a fun and entertaining format. As a very huge example for that, we can take Hamline University. During the pandemic situation and quarantine, one professor used Minecraft to teach his students and use that kind of entertaining format itself. I may be a liar if I tell that students was disappointed with that decision. And mostly gaming is a good inspiration for us. I find a lot of inspirations while playing games, fantasy games and so on. I started to learn something new. I tried to do my own game, I tried to create some models, and I'm still doing that kind of things. And I have some kind of purpose or dream to create my own universe or some kind of game, or who knows, film. So as a result, in reality, that might be have very inspirational impact on simple people like myself who just love playing games, because different stories, different actions, different personalities always can give us something new to learn, to enjoy, and to evolve. So next, gaming, I can say that improves, and mostly gaming improves our team playing, team player skills, cooperation player, co-player, as well as multiplayer online games enable players to work together to achieve a common goal. With the shared objectives, the game encourages the people to forge a strong team, using some kind of good communicational skills. This often results in the player developing meaningful relationships with each other beyond the screen. As a very huge examples, we can take World of Warcraft or Counter-Strike, Dota, and that kind of things, where the people created guilds or teams and used it to evolve, participate in different competitions, and now they even have some kind of maybe jobs, money, who knows. all because of like team playing and because of these interesting games. Nevertheless, the gaming also has some kind of negative impacts to people too. For example, prolonged gaming leads to an unhealthy lifestyle. Like gaming for prolonged hours without a break often leads to the player sitting in a chair inactively for long hours, as they immerse themselves into the world of video games and forget about reality. There may be some visual problems, like most video games require quite a long time to complete any particular game. So like some kind of game like Star Wars gaming, where you will see different colors at the same time, it might be like bad impacts on your eyes. You might have some kind of backaches too, like being seated at the same position for an hours. This can cause some kind of stiffness or soreness due to like lack of movement. You may have some migraine. People who play a lot of video games for extended periods without a break and just sit and only focus on gaming, they will have a problem with eyesight and headaches too. The aggressive behavior and mental problems, some like research already told about that, but this, for example, this is not something new in these days, and among players who play like co-playing games, multiplayer games like Counter-Strike and Dota, you might like saw a lot of people with who like very aggressive, who has some kind of aggressive approach to you and other teammates. These kind of people mostly like negatively impact on you. So children are at higher risks of being affected if they are exposed to violent games since a young age. This could result in a more impulsive and aggressive behavior. But again, let's not forget, this mostly depends on like how much do you play and how much like do you prefer to spend like time for gaming. As I said before, this depends on you and only you. There is some kind of interesting sentence like it's enough at the same time you must know the limits for something good. If you want to like have only the positive impact, you must know the limitations for that. For example, even some kind of like alcohols or even a training has their own limitations. When you drink too much, you will have hangover and you will have some like side effects on your health. When you train too much, you may not gain muscles, you may just lose them. So in every situation you must know the limits, and even that's kind of like positive things from gaming, like inspiration and like other like positive sides, they can be very useful for you. But at the some place you must know your limitations. But at the same time, let's not just forget that gaming is not always the cause for different like crimes or some kind of sorts of sad stories. Thanks for attention, and that's all I have.